this is one of the topics that really interests me because I like to go through the human psyche, societal expectations, imbalance, inequalities, injustices. I go to places that the average person, I don't think, wants to because it can be challenging. You will be either attacked, ridiculed, whatever, because you maybe don't live up to someone else's standards, or you're just people will consider it a warped perspective, but it's not. It's actually incredibly balanced. The thing with me, in everything I do, I always look and consider both sides of everything. So I always look at this side, that side, and I look in the middle, and I think what's fair. And that's how I literally go through life. So I see the imbalance in everything. And people are self preserving. So if they're on the side where it's favorable to them, they don't want to lose that. And they like to posture as more important, more significant. And there's a video I'm going to share in a minute. And I watched it and I was like, that's great. Because I think I've touched on this before in other videos, but I think I may even touched it in the past in one of my books. If not, it's a very similar topic. So when this guy's talking, I think it was lost in translation because I got exactly what he was saying. And I went looked at the comments after, and people were just losing their mind. You know, they're thinking he's out of touch, and I'm thinking he's actually in touch. He's getting it. And for what the part I was seeing, it didn't seem like he was making a judgment. He was just pointing it out, and it made absolute sense to me. He was talking about the cost of dating and things like this, and the expectation of it. So, like, from my opinion, even just going into anything, it's like I just think things should be balanced and even. It should be equal. It shouldn't be one provides so much while the other doesn't have to provide anything. You know, the balance is completely skewed. A healthy relationship is one in which you thrive together. So you support and you achieve together. It's not a competition. No one's carrying someone on their back. It's equal give and take. That's the sign of a healthy relationship. It's what's the word? Coexisting together. Yeah, but anyway, like when it comes to relationships, I always find it absolutely curious. I'm transparent about my life. I'm not saying I live a perfect life. I've just lived a life that provides me at least the peace to myself. So I say this: I am single, but I'm unavailable. So I'm not even interested in dating. So this doesn't really apply to me because I got no interest in it. So um, yeah, and I know that gets people's backs up, don't they? They think, oh, you're too good for. It's just that's a defense mechanism. I'm too good in the sense of I'm too good for myself to allow anyone to destabilize my peace. I don't owe it to anyone to allow someone in my life, you know. So these are the things that people have to make peace with for themselves. They might not like it because so for some people, their life is dependent upon someone else being in their life, you know. So they're codependent. I'm independent. Well, I don't need people. I'm good. Look, I think this as well, and I think this is a problem in society in general, and it's something I've never quite been on board with. I don't live the same way other people do. Some people attach too much significance on sex in general. Personally, that's what I've always witnessed it in people. It's almost people get ridiculed if they don't have enough of it, um, if they've never done it, all these different things. And I've always found that quite ridiculous. So there's a pressure in society that you have to have a mating partner, and the longer you go, the more weird you are. Actually, the more longer you go without, the more comfortable you get without it. It's kind of strange. You might not think it normal, but you know, it actually does. It becomes normal. It doesn't mean you don't have urges. It doesn't mean you can't take care of yourself. But the reality is, okay, maybe you miss that intimacy. Maybe you miss a connection with someone, but you don't have the baggage that comes with it. You know, so look, I'm not anti relationship. It's just anti toxic connections, and I just think to get into a relationship that's beneficial for both sides is very rare. I'm not against it entirely for the rest of my life, but I don't really have a positive outlook towards it. I don't think it's likely, and I'm not rushing into something just because I need someone else's attention. You know, and that's the thing. And again, things I say are going to touch you to someone else who maybe does fall into those categories where they do need sex all the time. They do need gratifying from someone else. So they put themselves in situations that maybe creates an imbalance. And then they just think it's normal because the society's made it considered normal. It's like you do you if that makes sense to you. I don't want chaos. So like I say, I think the longer you go alone, just the more you're used to being alone. And yeah, some people put this down to coping mechanisms and things, defensive mechanism. You can put it down to whatever you want. Ultimately, we all have free reign over our life. We can be in relationships. We can not be in relationships. We can go dating, or we decide not to go dating. We don't owe anyone anything. So like, I'm not dating. I don't even actively date. I don't even seek partners. I don't go on dating apps. I don't go trying to meet people in places. I don't even engage in conversation with people. It's like I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So there's, for that side, that's where I'm up to. So really, again, if people think it's abnormal, I'm not looking to mirror someone else's life. I'm in my own bubble. And like I say, I think people put too much status on having intimate connections with people. And it's like, I think as you get older, you get more wise to it anyway. It's like, what is the point? Anyway, yeah, I mean, you could go on a huge tangent on this. Doesn't mean you're not attracted to people, but for me, the attraction doesn't go deep enough to someone being in my life and having that ability to cause complications. So it's easier to just live in my peace. So yeah, to caveat that, I do have a daughter. She is 15. She is like the epicenter of my world. And I'm more like she lives with her mum. She lives a vast distance. We get to spend each time together in the holidays. We used to see each other far more, but the distance just made it really unbearable. She's soon getting to an age where she can decide her own fate, live where she wants to be and do what she wants to do and things like that. But the reality is, again, with my life, I'm more than comfortable just leaving her to do what she wants. I'm there whenever she needs me. If at some date she ends up living with me, then that's great. If she stays living with her mum, that's her choice. I've got no problem with it. And, when she needs me, I'm there and we spend time together when we can. And for me, that's fine. So like, I'm good. And then other than that, I'm doing my own thing. I have my own projects, my own hobbies, my own interests. I invest in me. So, I mean, I know some people might think it's weird, but it's like, I'm not trying, but that's because they're trying to project their lifestyle choices onto someone else. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. It's like, I don't need to, I'm not chasing women around like a crazy lunatic and someone who's obsessed with sex and all that shit. It's like, I'm really not, doesn't mean you don't have urges and doesn't mean you don't take care of things yourself. And I'm not going to go deep into that because I think what we do in our private times is personal to us. And I don't think it's really for us to go full on describing things. But ultimately, you don't always need a partner. And I find that gets triggering to some women as well. I'm not trying to attack women, but that does trigger women in the sense that they feel like they can make a joke out of it, and try and say, oh, yeah, blah, 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 because I've seen women go down this quite spiteful, petulant angle because it attacks the need for them. But then it goes the other way as well. There's other women that, they're not interested in dating either. And it goes against the need for men. And I think that's the way society's going in general, to be totally honest. Reproduction is probably, I'll expect it to sort of like drop a bit. And it just means that people become a bit more specific about who their love interests are and their partners. And I think I find that more of a healthy thing anyway, rather than dipping in and out of connections just because you want some sort of satisfaction. It's just for what? It's just like a short-term cure. It's like, if you don't have a partner and you do things for yourself, you don't have the chaos after, so you ain't got the trouble. Anyway, forget all that. I just thought I'd start it there, lay the foundation. And we'll see this video, and I absolutely get it. It was incredible. The one thing I would say about, if I'm going to talk about me personally before we get onto this, about the other person explaining what someone has to go through really to provide the resources for a date, talking about the hours you have to work, what work you'd have to do, just to be able to pay everything. I think dating, personally, I think dating should be a reflection of a relationship. So I think it should just be you split it down the middle. It's fair. That doesn't mean that's how I would date because there are still societal expectations and standards. So naturally, if I was going on a date, I would feel going into that I'm paying for everything because that's just what is expected, and that's what I would assume. And you wouldn't want to be insult. You wouldn't want to insult someone. So I look, and that's the way society standards are at the moment. And I think if you're looking to date someone, then yeah, you go the extra mile for them. But it's really not. It's not a fair standard, is what I'm saying. So I would lean towards me paying the cost because I think that's what's expected. It doesn't mean I think that's fair. So yeah, I think if anyone asks me what I think should be fair, I think it should be you each pay for your own. I saw something where 50 Cent, incredibly wealthy, he said something I thought was great. Someone asked him about who pays when he dates, and he said, depends who asked. So effectively, whoever set the date up, whether it's the guy or the girl, it's like they pay. I thought, okay, that makes sense as well, because I think we have to get away from this thing where the guy is almost like the drip. The guy is the one like lucky to be in this connection. It's like that's so imbalanced to begin with. Women need the guy just as much as the guy needs the woman. I don't want to go too deep into that, but there is this thing where just women just think because they're naturally beautiful, because they are. Femininity is a beautiful thing, that all of a sudden guys should be falling over themselves for them. And it's like, that's just so deluded, though. Some of us are fine, you know. You can just look at someone and think, oh, they're beautiful. Doesn't have to go beyond that. I don't need to talk to you. I don't need to have a relationship with you. I definitely don't need to have relations with you. You know, it's good. It's fine. You look pretty. Good for you. Continue on my way. And I think there's this thing where women do naturally think they should have the attention all the time, but it's like, I see it all the time. Like, you see it on social media, women flaunting their bodies all the time. You hear about it anyway, where they just make money all the time from their looks, from their bodies, and what they want to do to themselves. And rarely is it the other way. So like, guys don't really do that, or they don't have the opportunity for that. But I always just think it's quite shallow, isn't it? That's literally a source of income, a source of entertainment, all these things that you're doing to yourself. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would you degrade yourself to that level? And you can't undo it, is the other thing as well, isn't it? Once you've done it, it's in the public domain. So, I mean, it's almost like have a bit more respect for yourself, that you're not some sort of vessel of pleasure for others. Best way of putting it. Anyway, that's just my take. I know people are going to think I'm completely out of touch. I don't consider myself the societal norm. I never have. I don't do anything to just fit in with the society. That's the thing with me. I never have. Pretty much most of the things I do go against society. So I would be considered abnormal in so many aspects of the way I live. And it's like, I don't care. I was interested in gaming back in the 90s, when gaming was considered very geeky and dorky. Nowadays, it's trendy. It's the thing a lot of people do. I was doing those things, man. I don't care. I never cared what people said. People kept calling, like, even family members referred to me as a hermit. And I'm like, whatever. I'm just doing my own thing. I'm not even bothering anyone. Just shut up and leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? I weren't antisocial in the sense that I can't communicate. I was usually the life of the party, and that's why people dig at me, because they want my time and company. I prefer to spend my time on my own a lot of the time, though. So when I'm around people, yeah, I can talk like crazy and I can have a lot of fun. We can laugh. But there's a lot. I'd prefer to spend a vast amount of percentage of my time in my own company, doing what I want to do, rather than just following crowds and stuff. I don't do that. I don't like it. So even like, if we go, like, I don't know, gaming tangent here, I've always liked racing simulators as well when they're in their infancy. So I always dreamt of having like a cockpit thing, you know, where you can actually just sit down, you get in your racing rig. I've seen people nowadays have got it all. It's gone wild. People have gone crazy. They've got jumped into it. I was enjoying that sort of thing way before it was trendy. And again, people jumping into it now, and it's like, that's what I want still, and I can't afford that, and I don't have the space for it. But one day, that's the dream for me, something as simple as that. But these are dorky things, but these are the things that I like. So I don't. Again, I'm more of a simple life sort of person. You can chase women around, you can go and live that lifestyle, you know, and you can have the nightlife. No, I'd rather just be cozy at home. I'm rather a bit cozy at home. I've got my film collection, I've got my games, I've got my music. I've got plenty of TV shows on box sets and whatnot. I've got, within my own environment, I'm peaceful, man. I'm good. I don't crave the high life. It's not for me. But anyway, I don't want to deviate too far. Let's go back. So I just want to show an example of someone who isn't in that rat race for love, isn't looking for the attention or that. Because I think it's a good grounding part when you see these young females. I think their idea of guys, I think, overall is a bit deluded. I think their target audience, I get it, but the idea that all guys are the same, I think, is really is a misconception, because I'm not your typical guy, and there's going to be examples of similar people like me out there. So you could walk past and try to be pretty, maybe you put your cleavage out and all those things. And I think I was watching something. I think it was Penny on. If I'm just being transparent here, I was just watching Penny on Big Bang Theory, because I like Big Bang Theory. They did a flashback scene, and she was flirting with Sheldon, and you know, she got a bra out, and she just flirting with him. It wasn't too racy or anything, and it's just, when you look in general, you just think like if you think about like when women are beautiful, it can be feel intimidating. But you look at them and then you think, well, actually, it's how delicate and beautiful the lingerie is. Really, it's not the actual female body that's actually intimidating. It's how they look when it looks almost unattainable in a way. But if she didn't have her bra on, for instance, it's like, oh, that's so if she has no bra and she just literally stood like naked, that's not intimidating, you know. But it's when you wear all the stuff and it starts to look a bit more unattainable and a bit more saucy, and it looks a bit more. Um, I don't know. It just seems less attainable when they have those things. So sometimes I think women maybe devalue themselves too much by keep doing things, and it's like, well, but you gave too much away. Now people are not really feeling it. But anyway, I don't want to go too far with all of it, but it's just the idea then that women are. I don't know. I just think sometimes people get a bit nervous around women. I don't get nervous around people at all, to be totally honest. But I think if you're going to say someone would be nervous of someone, which puts women on maybe more of a higher pedestal because they look confident, it's really just the makeup and the things they do to make themselves look different. But you take the makeup away, you bow down to flesh. It's like nothing intimidating at all. So it's all superficial shit that actually makes them seem intimidating and more glamorous. I saw this video come up. I don't know if it was on. No, it wasn't on this. And this woman was saying again. She almost had. She had a low top on purpose. A lot of this shit's going on lately. And she was trying to say something about because the guy's saying something about makeup and women, not looking as pretty without it or something. And then she said something about, well, I challenge guys to get rid of their beards and things and see how attractive they are and stuff. And it's like the argument there in the comments, which I saw, and you can agree with to a degree, was that, well, that beards are like natural. It's literally, it's like literally natural. You grow it. You don't grow makeup. And that's true. Like, if be honest, I'm not saying I'm the most handsome guy in the world, but I'm just naturally me. You know, I've not got anything on. I've got cream I need to use more because my hands are dry. I get dry skin, so my hands are dry. I haven't got any on at the moment. It's just literally, this is who I am. I don't do anything to try to look good. I don't put nothing on. And I'm not trying to like diminish women. I'm not trying to be all like that at all. But it's all quite apparent. Women put the eyeliner on. You'll put the concealer on. You put makeup on. And all of a sudden, it just elevates every stage of the face, doesn't it? And you can even put certain things on your cheeks to make your cheeks even thinner if that's the look someone's trying to go for. There's so many things you can do to contour your face to look different. I even saw something where this woman, she was very flat-chested, and I think women shouldn't be worried about things like that at all. You know, before we get onto this other video, I think there's another misconception with guys. If you're looking to attract the guys who really have, I don't want to say no standards, but they're just literally womanizers. If you're going to want to attract womanizers, yeah, they're just going to want big, heavy cleavage. I think you'll find that a lot of guys, they actually find it cute, the ones that don't have big cleavage and things. So there's levels, and I don't think like the average guy, I don't think is going to care. I think they'll find it like beautiful, whatever. You know, I saw again. I've seen videos where someone's talking about different shapes and sizes where women can be insecure, and I'm thinking you shouldn't really feel insecure. It's just natural. Your natural body is you, and it shouldn't be something you worry about. But this woman was flat-chested, and she actually used makeup to contour the design of the look of her chest to actually look like she had cleavage. And I thought that's incredible. You made it almost like 3D. It was strange, but I thought that's crazy. But that just shows the depth of what you can do with makeup. Anyway, let's go through this. Actually, what I meant to do. I've gone 20 minutes of rambling. I didn't intend to do this at all, like in terms of this depth. But I like to be transparent, and I don't really care what it makes me look like because I am me. So I consider me normal for me. If it's different to other people, then they get to see something different. If you see a different standard, if you see something maybe you don't like in what I'm saying, that's fine as well. But it's understanding that society can't exist in just one way. It can't be that someone else sets a standard and everybody has to live up to it and then conform to if that's not part of who we are, what we're interested in. So, yeah, I mean, I see this all the time where people say, where's all the guys? Not just the guys, but the guys will do the same for women. But obviously, as a guy, I see the women saying it a lot. And they'll say, like, where's all the guys at? Like, we're supposed to meet these nice guys. And it's like, most nice guys are keeping to themselves, or they've got their own little community of people and they're doing things. You know, I'm not saying that all nice guy, no nice guy goes to the pub. I'm not saying no nice guy goes to clubs. I don't say nice guys don't go to the places women perhaps frequent where they expect to meet these guys. But overall, most are just doing their own thing. It's rarely going to bump into them. At best, you probably meet them in the supermarket. But by then, they're busy doing their own shit anyway. You know, so think about it. I'm not saying this in general, like trying to generalize people too deep. But you meet someone in the pub, don't be surprised when they're an alcoholic. You meet someone at a nightclub, don't be surprised they like to go out most nights and they just go and maybe they're off doing shit and they're meeting different people. Don't be surprised. It's quite obvious. That's where you're meeting them. You meet someone in the gym. Don't be surprised that they're obsessed with their appearance. I'm not saying that's the case of everyone at the gym, but it's like these are the things, aren't they? So it's a bit like if someone was to, like, let's say someone met me somehow and they knew my lifestyle. Don't be surprised I like video games. Don't be surprised I like movies. Don't be surprised I'm a homebody. I like to be cozy at home. Don't then be surprised that I don't want to go out at night and do all that random shit. Don't be surprised I'm not going to go to the nightclubs with you. Don't be surprised I don't want to go to the pub. I don't want to go to those toxic shitholes. It don't interest me. You're looking for the wrong things in people. So if you're looking for certain qualities, consider like where you were going to find those qualities, you know. But of course, you can't just go knocking randomly on doors. I mean, that'd be a bit weird. That might be the next thing people try. And if you're going to meet people online, just understand a lot of them just have fake personas. It stands to reason. If women, I've seen a lot, and it's not just women, men again. I don't want to keep attacking women, but I see so many people with filters online. The face is just smooth as hell. They almost look cartoonish. And you're expected to take them serious. It's like you're not even having the confidence to show yourself in who you are. It's a false example of yourself, and it's always the same thing. So how can someone take you serious when you look like a cartoon? You know. So the thing is, if you're going to meet people on social media, not even social media, the dating apps, it's like you don't even know what you're meeting. They could, again, we talk about contours of our face. People can contour their personality, you know. They can contour how they're talking to people and the way they look online. And then when you meet them, it's not even like that. And that's part of the problem with dating in general. You'll get an example of someone because that's what they reflect to you. A lot of the time, people bounce back what you want or what they recognize you're interested are. They will replicate that, and then you'll be sucked in. And then later down the line, their personality comes out, and it weren't what they showed. Which is why I don't really like dating and stuff. I don't need the hassle. It's just not worth it, you know? No, if it's going to end, something's going to end anyway. Might as well not let it start. Anyway, that's me. I know it's miserable, but it's like I really don't care, you know? Sometimes I love the idea of being in a relationship, but then you think the depth of a relationship I would want and someone compatible, it's just so rare that you just switch off from it again and just, get it. I can't be bothered. Genuinely can't be bothered. And I always think that to myself. People are best just stay away from me. I don't want to disrupt their life, and there's no point in them disrupting mine. So I'm good with this. You know, I've got a daughter. I don't feel I need to do the do-over again. I've had love. I have unconditional love in her. I get to watch her grow. We'll always have that bond, that connection. It's like she doesn't need that female role model and all that. You know, it would have been nice for her in different ways, but it's like, we're good. So I don't need anyone destabilizing it and getting in the way anyway. So anyway, let's watch this video now. So you've heard my ramblings. This ain't actually long. I thought it was longer than that. That's pretty cool. Let's go there. So like, I'm not going to interrupt. Just you hear it for yourself. Take what you want from it. Just understand that I get what you're saying, and pretty much, you know, the work you're expecting someone to do when you're not going to put the same effort in, just to be in your company is a bit mental. Now, I understand, like, before we go there, I can understand, like, where a woman, let's say we have a physical intimacy with someone. I can understand the guy is the one effectively penetrating, violating the woman or whatever you want to say. But the reality is the woman's enjoying it just as much as the guy. So it's a two-way street. I think the idea that women keep acting like they don't enjoy it and they don't, if you don't enjoy it and you don't want it, then what the hell are you putting yourself in a situation for? You know? But I do want to before we get there, because I think things can be misconstrued. I think there is a tendency for guys to feel that if they've invested, especially financially, that they're owed something. And this is something I teach my daughter a lot. And I say it, I really do teach her this because I want her to understand the ramifications I don't ever want her getting in a situation that she didn't intend. So even like now at 15, she gets school friends. There's people that do fancy her and things, and they do give her things, even just little things. It might be some in-game currency. It might be even just something as simple as like a donut. It's little things, but it adds up. And I've said to her, most of the time, don't take anything off anyone. I said, if you don't take anything off anyone, you never owe them anything. Sometimes, like, you might just think it's just this and just that, but people feel, but what they might be doing is feeling they've investing in you and you owe them. So it could be a relationship, it could be anything. And then you get in a relationship with someone else and they're going to get bent out of shape. They're going to feel like really, really slanted, like you've took advantage of them. And that's a narrative they could spew. Even if that's not true, because the people have given you things and others maybe even be aware of it, it may be seen that you've took advantage. See, it's easy. You might like a donut. I know you might like playing that a game that has in-game currency. Whatever it is, you can go without it though. You can just get it for yourself. And that's something I teach her a lot. And I just always want her to, because I'm always trying to educate her on different things. I just want her to be aware as she goes out into the world, the way people are. And I'd never want her to be a victim of someone else's expectations and all that shit. Keep your independence. So that's what I'm like with her. So although I have this opinion, this, and this, one thing I do with her, I'm always empowering her. And it's always showing her standards in life. So, so let's say someone's not treated her well, and later on it turns out they fancied her. My thing to that is, yeah, sometimes people do that because they just want to be in your company. But also just recognize you don't want to be with someone who's already shown you that they've been toxic towards you. You want to be with someone who loves you, unconditionally. And they'll always be there and you can rely on them and they don't make you feel bad about yourself. And as soon as someone shows you that they will make you feel bad about yourself, they're not for you, So people might think some of the ways I am is a bit ancient or something. I don't know. You don't know how people perceive you. It's like I'm always going to be misunderstood because people always have an angle to how they want to perceive me to validate their own life. But I'm accountable to myself and I'm always accountable to my daughter. And I raise her the right way. If anyone ever come across her, you'd be surprised how incredible she is. She's very grounded. She's funny. She enjoys the little things in life. She's not someone that postures bigger than anyone else. She's not someone that, I wouldn't consider her intimidating, but she knows her value. She has good standards and morals, but she likes the geeky things too. So she's not one of those like princess girls that are just like out of touch of reality or just can't fit in with people. She's nothing like that. So when I see these girls sitting around a table, I don't want to judge them, but she's nothing like that. She's nothing like that. Anyway, I don't want to judge people, but sometimes we can't help it, I guess. So anyway, listen to this guy.
An hour, and he's spending $100 on a date. For the total date, that's 5 hours of work he has to do. Just for your portion, though, to be fair, that's 2.5 hours of work if he's making $20 an hour. So I'm thinking like, hold on. If it's the standard that women say, you need to pay for the first date, that translates to, you need to work 2.5 hours to take me out. And what if the guy works a labor job? What if his job is difficult? All the shit that he has to do in the restaurant? Or construction, he's breaking his body. I start to think like, the bow seems like kind of a small ask compared to the ask of women. Go work 2 hours to take me on a date. That's the entailment of men should pay on first dates. Like if I told you, no, you don't have to bow, but go dig a ditch for 2.5 hours, then we can go on a date. You would laugh at me and be like, the f***, I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Right?
I mean, I don't really know. Totally.
If the guy makes 20...
Look, I don't want to standardize women because there's plenty of women out there that will pay for the date and you get some douchebag guy that just takes advantage all the time. So this isn't about hating women. I know that's how it could come across, but if you just look at the way they were sitting, they're posturing, they're posing, unfortunately, it is the standard. So, although there are many women who have value, and they have emotional intelligence, it's just this, without being rude, it's few and far between because of the way the generations have been brought up and raised, the expectation. And that's what I said at the beginning there, the standard is set for guys to pay for the dates. It's just the way it's always been. Is it reasonable? Is it fair? Should it be the way? I don't think so. Realistically, I don't think so. I think a first date should just be getting to know each other. There shouldn't be any of this where I'm obligated to cover the expenses and things. It's not a case of me not wanting to pay because if I'm not getting anything in return, because that's what it's going to be perceived as. If I don't pay that contribution, then that's just me being petulant because I can't guarantee that I'm getting what I want out of it. That's not the case at all. I think it shouldn't. You should again, where I've just said there at the beginning. There, we got to that video where I said about my daughter. I don't think she should take anything off anyone because then you can't expect anything. And I think that ultimately is what it is. It's if you're going on a first date, there should be no expectation. We're going to meet each other. If it doesn't go well, that's fine because we're all looking for our soulmates. So I'll pay for me, and then you pay for you, and there's no commitment. It's literally we're just meeting each other, spend time in each other's company. If you don't enjoy yourself, you can leave whenever you want. You don't have to suffer through it. I think that's something. If we're going to go on a deeper tangent with all that, there's this idea that you have to see the date through to be show compassion, be kind, and all those things. But it's like don't waste your time. People should have thick skin. If you're going to go dating people, you should understand rejection's part of the course. So if someone turns up, they don't like the look of you, they could turn around and go, well, unfortunately, this isn't going to work for me, but I wish you luck. I know it's a bit shitty. Someone's got themselves all dressed up. They want to go for a meal. But even that, as long as people are being transparent, I think that's better than leading someone on. But, but then also you could turn up and you could think, okay, maybe they don't look the part, but maybe we'll see. I'll see how it goes. I don't think there's anything wrong as long as you're transparent and honest at any stage. So you could leave middle of the date. You could leave at the beginning of the date. You could just at the end of the date say this isn't working for me, or you could say, you know what, I enjoyed myself and I'm interested in seeing how we get on next time. But I don't think there's a guaranteed commitment to things. But I think again, this is where society I think is a bit screwed up. Where if a guy pays for the meal and it's finished the date, they sometimes they think it's going to escalate into something where they get some satisfaction. Mate, you've just paid for a meal. You don't get to buy it. It's not like women are property. So again, there's so many layers with this, but when we talk about dating in general, I think it is a bit skewed towards women having the power. When I don't think anyone should literally have more, like there shouldn't even be a power struggle. And I find that's what all I'm saying is there's like a power dynamic all the time. And I just think it's crazy. Everyone should just be equal. And then that's how you build, I think that's how you build a strong foundational relationship, because you'll find that, and you see it all the time. It doesn't matter if it's the guy or the gal. A lot of time in relationships, you see one either earns more money or one's taking advantage of the other, and it can go both ways. So this is no way is this a gender bias. You see it where potentially, like if we do it this way, I'm going to start with the women first, then we go to the men. So let's say the guy works hard, they got money. The woman just goes shopping all the time, and she's overindulges. She buys designer shit, so that maybe you're struggling all the time, or she's got a demand for holidays. She wants a luxurious life. You've got to try and sustain that, even though the lifestyle you have isn't feasible. That's a lot of pressure and strain on a relationship, and it's showing disrespect to the other partner who doesn't get those things and doesn't get those indulgences, but is having to cope with it just to satisfy the woman. That's not balanced. Now, this isn't an attack on women because we can see it the other way. Let's say a woman works her ass off. She's paying. She's got her income. She expects the guy to contribute as well. So you're both bringing resources in, but the guy just gambles all the time, or he's always down the pub, or he's always just indulging with this, just wasting money here. He's always out of his friends, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden the rent's due and it's not getting paid because the money's constantly being wasted, and they just, and you see it you do see it. And to me, none of those sides is a healthy relationship. That's not healthy to me. And it's just, that's how I feel. I feel like I saw something recently, and first of all, I thought that's weird, but then I thought, is it so bad? I don't know. It said people in relationships have, like, it's weird for people in relationships to have their own bank accounts, to have their own money and it not be both of yours. And I thought, like, yeah, like if you're living together and things, and surely everything's all in one. You're all together. But then I thought about it just a little bit after that, and I just thought, why should it be such a bad thing? You still maintain your independence to a degree, and you do have to, even if it's not productive, because if you always have a contingency plan, there's a good chance that something won't work out. So I'm talking about like prenups and all those sort of things. You know, like when you're married, if you have these contingencies, I just think I personally think you're more likely to have a divorce because you're not committed. There's all, you know, if you're not fully committed. But I thought about bank balance, and I just thought, well, I'm not sure that should be fair. I think it might be actually healthier to have your own accountability of your finances. Plus, it's also very important that you do plan for your future, positive and negative. Relationships rarely last a lifetime, and I think it's just it's a fact. Well, I say it's sad, but it's just a fact. Relationships rarely last a lifetime. So when you in a relationship, and let's say it's ending, it's inevitable. One's going to be a bit toxic. One's going to be all about them. At least one, or both could. But imagine like you get to the end of a relationship and someone just clears the bank account out, and now you're in poverty, you're struggling, you can't even find a home, blah blah blah. It's like that's not conducive of a healthy separation. So if you'd kept your financial independence, you wouldn't be susceptible to that. So you have that contingency in mind. I think personally, I actually think that's the best way to do it. Myself, I think both maintain their own incomes, but you have a joint account where you both contribute the same amount. Obviously, depending on the income. Let's say one person's earning substantially more, then you could understand that they should contribute. I think in that situation, because we're talking about the value per month of each individual, if that person, it should maybe do it based on percentages, and then that person should give a bit more. But you've both given a certain percentage. I think that would be fair. So let's say someone earns, I don't know, 12 after tax. Let's say you get £2,000 a month. Someone else earns maybe £3,000 a month. That's a £1,000 difference, of course. So if you're being healthy in a relationship, I think you should have similar things, because you don't want a relationship built on the fact that one person's more powerful than the other. That's a weird dynamic. You know, you don't want that. This person earns more, so they're the significant one. They're the dominant. There shouldn't be a dominant in a relationship. So I think just keep it as a percentage, because let's say all your bills in total are about £1,000 a month. Maybe they're more. I don't know, but I'm just going to say that. So then you're putting £500 in, and they're putting £500 in. It'd probably be more than 1,000. But anyway, let's just say that. You put 500, they put 500. You've got £1,000 left. Now the other person's still got 2,500. You've got 1,000, they got 2,500. Now you could argue that's fair. That's how much you earn. I think I got numbers right. No, they said 2,500, and the other one's got 1,500. And you could argue that's fair, but I just think it would make more sense to do percentage. So if you work out the fact that the other person's going to take, is it like 20% or something? 25%? If it's 500 rent, oh, not rent, but it's £1,000, so you're going to lose 25%. 25% would be the half, wouldn't it? So it'd be 500. I've got no idea what the number would be on that side. But then I think effectively, if you do that, I think one pays 300, one puts maybe 300 towards it, the other one puts 700 towards it, or 4 and 6. I don't know. I just think it's fairer because the other one still has a lot more money after to do what they want, and you're not, that's how I personally think it would be fair. But again, that's going to be up to people in relationships what they think's fair, But I don't think what I'm getting down to, though, I don't think relationships should just all be about money. So I think you just get rid of the money section, get that out of the way, have a deep conversation about that so you're actually aligned and there's no bitterness. It's fair. And then I think then you can move forward with your relationship. Because when you split, constantly share an income, like when you think about it, how do you actually buy a gift for someone genuinely? I want to surprise you with a gift. But we bought, thanks for the gift, but we bought that, didn't we? What do you mean? Because our money's together. It's like, well, I've bought that as well. Do you know what I mean? It takes away the gesture. If it's your own money, that person can truly appreciate you've actually used your money that you could have spent whatever you want and you spend it on them. It'll make them feel nice. It's like, yeah, of course I'll buy you this. So it's not a case of, I'm keeping the money for me. It's like, I can keep that money and do what I want. I could surprise them with a holiday. I could surprise them with like a getaway this weekend. I can treat them with that. Of course, I could treat myself to something as well. But because they have their own money, they shouldn't then feel really bad when you treat yourself. So I personally think it would develop a healthier relationship. Because I think a financial independence, I think, allows you to have that value of self anyway. When it's someone else's have this strain on the income, I do think it creates a weird dominance, and then someone who is suppressed. So you've got this weird dynamic in a relationship, this power dynamic. Again, I don't think relationships should be about power. But then you could argue, what do I know? I'm not interested in dating. But anyway, I don't have to be dating to be philosophical. I don't have to be dating to see the stages of situations. And it's through me witnessing that actually makes me decide whether I'm interested in pursuing a relationship or not. And it's the more I get into it, I realize most people are not emotionally intelligent or developed to literally even have an in-depth conversation like that without being triggered and getting defensive. It's like, I don't need the hassle. You want someone mature enough to handle life, don't you? And it's like, I don't think most people can. Some people watching this have probably got defensive in the first 5 minutes. That's society at the moment. So anyway, that's my take on things.